Good evening, everyone. I hope that you all had a nice week. Tonight, I want to talk about trust. Now, trust is actually one of my favorite words in the English dictionary because it has the word true in it. I'm not going to go any more further details about that, but I just want to share with you the Merriam-Webster's dictionary on trust. Trust, according to Merriam-Webster, is the belief that someone or something is reliable, good, honest, effective, etc. And trust can also be a verb. It's to believe that someone or something is reliable, good, honest, effective, etc. To have confidence in. To believe that something is true or correct, or to hope or expect something that is true or will happen. Trust to me is a very, very powerful thing. I I don't think we as human beings really understand how powerful trust can really be. Because we need trust in our lives, and we need to be trusted in our lives. Because having that form of reliability is in fact important. You need to have people you can rely on. You need to have people who you can depend on during your worst situations. You need relationships with people who you know without shadow of a fact that they have got your back. But the problem is, trust can be easily misplaced. And that starts out with your friends. I know, I know for a fact. Well, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna come back to my own examples for a second here, because I actually do want to distinguish something. There is a difference between trusting and trustworthy. Trusting is when you are willing to give your trust. Like if you're a trusting individual, you would give your trust to almost anyone. Like for example, you may give trust to your best friend that you meet in person. That's common. You can give your trust to someone you know that you believe. You expect something in return. If you do that, without reasoning, that could be considered a trusting person. Now, trustworthy. Now, if you break that down, there's trust, and then there's worthy. And you flip those two things around, it simply means worthy of trust. Now, that just forces its definition upon you. If you're good and honest, reliable, and you can really be dependent on people, that is considered trustworthy. Like for example, if someone calls you to do important tasks that you don't want to do, but you want to do it because you know that you got the person's back, that is trustworthy. If you want if if you say you will call them back and you do call them back because you want to be reliable, trustworthy, that person, you don't want to leave them hanging, that is also trustworthy. Because you're true to your word. But as always, we as human beings, our trust differs between each person. Coming back to me, I'm actually a very trusting and trustworthy individual. There have only been a few times in my life where I actually was dishonest, was unreliable, and that can happen before. I'm not 100% trustworthy. No human being is 100% trustworthy because we're all naturally flawed. No one is perfect. But if you consider the fact that I never ignore a text on my phone, that I never that I that I never really get I never ignore a text on my phone. I, I never leave a person hanging whenever they call me. I never turn down, well, I shouldn't say never turn down, but I usually do not turn down anyone who needs help. Because I am that trustworthy, I'm able to help really almost everyone who needs my assistance. Now, I'm working at Walmart. I always seem to give help to almost every customer that approaches me. So I want to make sure they have the best shopping experience. That is trustworthy. And I'm glad to be a trustworthy individual because I want them to know that I've got their back. I'm reliable. I can be depended on for almost anything. But the problem with me is I'm too trusting. And you can be too trusting, ladies and gentlemen. On Facebook, I have 840 something friends, or something like that. I have like 900 friends. Only a handful. Matter of fact, only a handful. Yeah, a handful of people I can trust. Because you don't know if those friends are really your friends on social media. And I've talked about that in my last video. Sometimes I put my trust in someone, yet they show me the true colors. That person doesn't trust me. Well, scratch that. Sometimes I put my trust in someone, but sometimes they do show me the true colors. And that leads me to wonder if they can really be trusted, if they're really my friend. And there is an old saying, don't trust anybody. Correction. You need to trust someone. Because if you don't trust someone, if you don't trust anyone, then there's no people you can rely on, and that's bad. The real expression is, don't trust everybody. DTE, as I like to call it. Because you can't trust everybody in the world. Unfortunately, not all of your friends you can absolutely trust. You can't put a lot of trust in someone. You can only put a little bit at a time. You can add more trust as the relationship goes along, but you always gotta be careful. Because you don't know that person. You don't even really know the person inside and out. Therefore, the question is, who can you trust? Family you can trust. Your closest friends you can trust. But here's the deeper question. Who can I give my 100% trust in? Now, I'm going to sound religious here, but this is my true feeling. I'm a Christian. It's okay for me to say this. The only person, the only being, the only deity you should give your 100% trust into is the good man upstairs. Because whenever I'm down, and wanting reassurance that it's going to be okay. God always knows. He knows that it's going to be okay. And I trust Him. I absolutely trust Him. There have been times where I haven't trusted Him. But He constantly reminds me, each and every day, that He's got me. He got my back. And everything's going to be okay. And that's why the man upstairs and his son, they are my friends. They're actually my closest friends. Because they I trust. To them, they got my back. And they have never left me. They may have... Sometimes I'll leave them. But hey, they get me back on the right path. And the message to you all is this. Don't trust everybody. Only trust a few people. You'll find when time rolls along who can you trust. Who really has got your back. Some people that you don't like can be your most reliable individual. Some people who you love to death, in reality, is not a trustworthy individual and should not be given most of your trust. Don't displace your trust. And if you do, take it and give it to someone else who truly deserves it. Thank you all for listening to this video, and I'll see you all next week.